Hello and welcome to the first in a series of short demonstrations showing how Rational Team Concert, Rational Doors and Rational Rhapsody can help you in the process of complying to ISO 26262 for the development of safety critical automotive products. This is achieved by using the tools in a collaborative and integrated manner that not only provides guidance on the ISO 26262 process, but also acts as an aid to tool usage, project management and process governance, thereby assisting with compliance to the ISO 26262 standard throughout the safety management, development, production and operational lifecycle of the product. Let us start by looking at the process guidance, but before we dive too deeply into the content itself, I would like to point out, as it says on this welcome page, that although this content will help you to comply to ISO 26262, it is not intended as a replacement for the ISO 26262 standard, which is referred to throughout this content, or replaces the use of certified ISO 26262 staff where required. Parts of the process content were reproduced from the ISO 26262 standard with the kind permission of ANCI and the ISO. You can purchase your own copy of the ISO 26262 standard from the ISO website once the finalized version of the standard becomes available. The web content provided to support ISO 26262 covers the main normative parts of the specification, with specific sections on the specification volumes 2 through to 8. Section 4, which covers the product development at the system level, has also been broken up into two separate sections, the first covering systems engineering and the second covering the systems integration and test. The web content can be used by both planners, such as project managers, and the engineers who carry out the tasks. From the planner's perspective, the main process flows are covered by sets of flow diagrams that show the ordering of activities, whilst the atomic tasks detail the work to be carried out by a specific role, of which more later. The hyperlinks on the welcome page show the main flows or the main process flows that are relevant to ISO 26262. They are then divided up into the main phases of the ISO 26262 development lifecycle so that you can look at them separately. We're just briefly going to have a quick look at the safety lifecycle so that you can get an idea of what you can expect to see. In this particular view, we're looking at the planner's view. We're seeing an activity diagram of the overall safety life cycle. It shows you the relationship between the main activities at this level. If we go down into our systems engineering for product development, this is a high-level task. What we will see is we'll see a description, what it extends, and a purpose for that particular activity. It then shows you the underlying workflow that exists for that activity and a further breakdown which goes into the tasks underneath an activity, and within that task the various roles and work items or work products that are produced as a result of that. If we go down further into activity 4.5, again we end up with another activity diagram. In this instance, what we're looking at are the atomic tasks required to carry out the overall activity. Underneath this, for each particular role that is involved with an overall task, we see the role and we see the input documents and the output work products related to that particular task, and this is for all roles that are involved with that particular task. Again, there is a breakdown element whereby we're looking at any activities that might exist at the lower level. If we now drill down into our tasks, so if we go down to our plan system level safety activities, you will find that each of these atomic tasks, which is what the user would see, or the person carrying out the task, would see a description, a purpose, the various roles that are required to carry out that task, and then the input and output work documents or work products that are relevant to that task. In some instances there'll be a very detailed main description which will be supplemented by output from ISO 26262, which has been reproduced with the permission of ISO. As we move further down, there may be further detail which defines further steps in that life cycle, and these are opened up. Again, they may have further information and diagrams that relate to the task itself. In certain instances, you will find hyperlinks embedded in the document. These will take you to other content relating to the topic, in this case the verification planning. In some instances, these links take you to other content, in this case around the architectural design stage of model-based systems engineering using Rhapsody. As mentioned previously, the hyperlinks on the welcome page take you to the main activities required to carry out a particular activity or task. They are also reflected in the browser on the left hand side, with the main process flows followed by the main volumes of the ISO 26262 standard, and then finally the supporting processes. The information is also broken out into the specific roles required to carry out the tasks, with descriptions. There are also a breakdown of tasks by phase of development, and a breakdown of the various work products by phases of development. Finally, there are links that take you to various practices around doors and Rhapsody. At the moment, these are around requirements management and about model-based systems engineering and software engineering. It is fully expected in the future that we would develop content around some of our other tools, principally around testing and test management, and looking at tools like Test Conductor and also Rational Quality Manager. Finally, just to sum up, IBM Rational supports development of ISO 26262 products and helps with compliance to ISO 26262 by employing a collaborative and integrated toolset that combines process guidance, project governance and tool support using a combination of Rational Team Concert, Rational Rhapsody and Rational Doors. These tools will be discussed in further detail in later demonstrations in this series. Thank you for listening.